This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Uh, Good morning and welcome you all for second day session of 3 days FDP on emerging trends in data analysis and cyber security. I welcome all the participants for today's session. I would like to welcome Mr. Ashwath Raj, working on data visualization, Chennai. Let me introduce today's speaker, very young and enthusiastic personality, Mr. Ashwath Raj, currently working on data visualization. He is a business intelligence consultant, around 5 years of experience in working with the data visualization tools like Qlik, Tableau, and Power BI. He is a seasoned trainer and has conducted training sessions with the Great Lakes Institute of Management, Computer Society of India, Tech Training Institutes, and one-on-one trainings. He is a curious technology enthusiastic and updates himself with the latest trends in the BI market. We are really proud of you, Mr. Ashwath. At this engage, you are groomed to engage this session for great professors. On behalf of Islamia Women's College, I proudly welcome you for day 2 session of FDP. Welcome you once again, Ashwath. Dear professors, the feedback link will be shared at the end of the session. Those who are submitting feedback will receive mail with the quiz link around 5 p.m. today. Welcome you all once again, and over to Mr. Ashwath.
Thank you, madam, for a wonderful intro. Uh, I'm very happy to be a part of today's session to discuss on data visualization, and I'm sure that this will be helpful for all that are attending today's session to get a glimpse about what is data visualization and why we are using it and how it is being utilized by various businesses. So let's get started. Before we start, I have just one request. Please keep yourself on mute unless and until you have any questions. We will be having a Q&A session at the end. So you can ask any of your questions at the end of the presentation. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So nowadays you can see everywhere that a lot of data is being generated, and data analytics is widely being adapted, and there is a lot of fuss going on around data. Now, where does data visualization fit in over here? Now, if someone explains to you about the places they visited in words, if they explain to you that it looked, there was a mountain, there was a building over here, and it had this color, you will have some understanding. But if you paint the same exact place and show to the other person, the person will be able to understand it much better, because you are visualizing that place to give proper idea or insight about the place that you have traveled to. Same thing happens for data also. You have a lot of data generated, but how do you make sense out of it, or how do you make data business decisions out of it? For that, you need data visualization. So as the title here, subtitle here says, data visualization is what brings data to life. A quick introduction about myself. As ma'am had explained, I have actually 5+ years of experience, and I explore a lot of data visualization tools, and I'm also currently working on Python and big data. Today I'll be covering on what is all the fuss about data, why it is called the new oil, then what is business intelligence, and then I'll be covering Tableau. What is Tableau? Why is it being used by a lot of companies? And then finally, a demo about the tool. So data is the new oil is a term that you can see frequently in various social media platforms, especially in LinkedIn, since it's a professional networking site. The reason why it is called so is because until recent years, oil has been the most valuable commodity. But in very, very recent times, let's say after 2012, there were many technologies in the market which helped businesses improve their business growth a lot, and that was done using data. Therefore, with the data, the businesses were able to grow, and that's how we can say that data is definitely at least as valuable as oil or more valuable than oil. This is a very famous image, and this was actually captured in 2015. And we can see how much of data or transactional data happens in various platforms, in various social media platforms. You can see YouTube has around 2.78 million video views, and every single view, every single pause, or every single fast forward, everything is captured, and the data is analyzed to understand the experience of the end users. What exactly is being done with so much data? I kept telling you that data is everywhere, data is being used a lot. Some of the use cases on how the businesses are using data is what I am going to explain over here. As I said, data is a new oil, and it is helping the businesses grow. How exactly? So the first one, if you see over here, you might have experienced this, the targeted ads. So first, if you go to Google and search for something, or Amazon and search for some product, and later if you go to any other website, you will be seeing the same product which you searched coming as a small in as an advertisement in small boxes. So what you are searching, that data is tracked, and later it is shown as a targeted ad. So you had searched for this product earlier, so therefore you can still buy this. Click on this link. So in that way, targeted ads are used. The another one, recommendation engines, is very common. If you go to, let's say, e-commerce sites like Amazon, Flipkart, there, uh, when you purchase one product, let's say you go and purchase a book, okay? Whenever you select a book, then automatically at the bottom of the uh, that page, you will see people who bought this book also purchased this product. To give you another example, people who purchased a laptop also purchased a laptop bag. This recommendation will be there. So how is it doing? Because Amazon is analyzing the data of the purchase pattern. So it has analyzed that many people who purchase laptop also for the safety of their or to carry around the laptop, they purchase laptop bag. So it understands the combination of the products purchased through the data, that the data it captures when the end users are searching for the products. So that way it understands the user behavior. So let's say out 100 people are purchasing a laptop and 98 people purchase a laptop bag. So when you or I go and purchase the same laptop, we'll get the recommendation that, see, so many people have purchased laptop bag, so you can also purchase. So this is an example of recommendation engine. And then you have social credit scoring. In India, we have a credit scoring for our bank, right? So if you have a good credit score, you will get a loan easily, and probably not at a very high interest rate. Similarly, in China, they have something called a social credit score. Social credit score, as in, I'll give you example. If a citizen in China is not obeying a traffic rule or any law, then their credit score goes down. So if there is a green signal in a road junction, and if a citizen crosses the road, they are captured in CCTV. Whole of China is with CCTV. Every place is surveillanced using the CCTV cameras, and these are connected to different government enterprises, government-owned enterprises. So if any person breaks a law, apart from the law, the police or any other enforcement agency taking action on them, their social credit score also goes down. So what is the use of a social credit score, if you ask? It also helps if your credit score is good. You think of it like, if you have a very good name in the society, then people will trust you. If you don't, then if you don't have a good name, then people don't trust you. The same goes for credit score. If the credit score is low, then in China you don't get access to various benefit schemes, and even passports are not issued for people with low social credit score. We can see even the government are tracking your various activities, your data, and it is setting a social credit score for you. Another huge example that we can discuss is the power of data when it comes to elections. If you see the Brexit vote, which happened in Britain in 2016 or 17, there the lot of targeted ads, you can say more of like a hatred speeches, were given against certain people who supported Brexit and those who did not support Brexit. And this was done analyzing the data of various people across UK. Similarly, the 2012 and 2016 presidential elections in US were influenced with data. You might have heard of Cambridge Analytica scam. Not a scam. Cambridge Analytica was a data analytics company which provided their services to political parties across the world. They helped Trump in US to win his election in 2016, and this they did analyzing the behavior of people in Facebook. To just give a basic example, what was done was, in Facebook, people were asked to um, take up a survey. So the survey had questions like, what do you like doing a lot, like music, dancing, something very generic like this. There was no factual question. Do you like math? Yes or no? So questions like this. There are so many questions, and once the survey was done, a profiling of that particular person was created, and in this profile it was understood that whether this person can be influenced by any external sources. That is, if they are shown a targeted ad saying that the Democrats who were the opponents of Trump, if they are shown an ad, if these people can be manipulated through ads or through any post in Twitter or Facebook, this data was analyzed. Basically, a psychological profiling was done of people throughout US, or most of the people throughout US, and based on that they understood in which state and which cities people can be manipulated, and accordingly manipulative messages, manipulative posts and posters in political terms were shown to them. And this is said to be a huge contributor for the Republicans, that is Trump, winning in 2016 election. Why to go even overseas? Even in India, there is a very famous data analytics company which provides, whose clients are purely the Indian political parties, the national level parties and also regional level parties. So you can see how much data is being utilized in different platforms, not just for businesses like we saw in the previous slide, but also for gaining political power. So first, let me explain about business intelligence. There is a segment in the whole data process called business intelligence. So business intelligence, what it helps is this process helps businesses make proper decisions. Okay, so for example, you can take a scenario would be if they want to evaluate the performance of their employees, then using business intelligence, they can understand from the data the performance of their various employees, or they can understand which products are being sold the most and which products are being sold the least. And accordingly, let's say if a product is being sold in very less numbers, they can probably provide a discount. So these kind of data insights to improve their businesses, business intelligence can be used. Now I know this is very theoretical. I'll give a practical example in some time. There are different types of analytics. You might have heard so many times, there's a lot of buzz going on around analytic data, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to these four. There are four types of analytics in the market. So the first one is a descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics means you understand what has happened till now. Like I said, who has performed very well in my company? Which products were sold the most? How has been my sales for the past few years? So these kind of questions, that is today is 12th June. So until 12th June, from any time in the past, until 12th June, whatever data you have, you are analyzing that. That is called a descriptive analytics. The next one is the diagnostic analytics. Diagnostic analytics means if a particular product is not being sold, you will see that through descriptive analytics. You just know that the product was not getting sold. But diagnostic analytics will explain the reason behind it. Why did the product not sell much? That is the diagnostic analytics. Predictive analytics, I'm sure you all would have heard. You are doing a forecasting of how a particular measure, that is a sales or profit or customer count, will be. That is the predictive analytics. And finally, prescriptive analytics is, I'll explain that with an example. As we saw, descriptive analytics shows that a particular product was not getting sold at all. Diagnostic analytics explains you why it is not selling. Prescriptive analytics tells you what steps you need to take or implement to ensure that the product gets moving, the product gets sold. So that is the prescriptive analytics. The business intelligence that I explained to you is the descriptive analytics, the first one. It tells what has happened until now. I'm not going to convince you with a lot of technical terms, but let me explain what happens in a descriptive analytics or in a business intelligence. The best example to explain this would be to take the example of a retail chain. Okay, you go and purchase your groceries all from supermarkets, right? So when you go and purchase, at the billing counter, whatever you purchase, the data entry is done through a scanning of barcode or anything, right? So the details like which product is being sold, to whom is it being sold, what is the quantity of the product, what is the sales, what is the profit, whether any discount was given, in which store, because a retail store might be across India. So which store, which city, which state, like this, so many different data points can be collected. It will be collected. And what do you think happens to all the data stored in the billing counter? It goes and saves in databases called OLTP databases. This OLTP database will contain all the data uh, from the billing counter, you can say, in our example. So what happens to the data that is stored? How does it help to make any data analysis? This OLTP data, whatever is entered in the billing counter, right? Later, this is consumed by tools like Tableau, Click, and Power BI, and there the data is visualized. There you can understand how the trend has been, which product was sold the most, or which product is not moving at all, and probably which employees are performing the best. All these kind of analysis you can make with the data. So this OLTP databases is a one source where all the transactional data is getting stored. Your data might be coming even from, let's say, another Excel file also. So the data sources can be many. Okay. So this source files, the source data is later pulled into a process called ETL, that is extract, transform, and load. This is a tool actually. This ETL tool extracts the data from all the OLTP databases, that is the where the transactional data or the billing details get stored, right? There the ETL process pulls the data from there or from any other data source, transforms it. By transforms, what I mean is, for so you can apply some basic business logics, or what you can do is filter out unnecessary data. Let's say you are analyzing data only for Tamil Nadu or for South India or only for a particular state or the whole country. Accordingly, you can apply a filter and you can analyze only that data. And this is at a very basic level. Of course, the ETL process will be much more complicated. And later, from this ETL process, a loading is done. That is the ETL part. The loading of data is done into a data warehouse. That is the enterprise data warehouse. The data is loaded. From this enterprise data warehouse, the examples would be SQL Server, Oracle, big data platforms, Amazon Redshift, Snowflake. All these are different databases. That could be the enterprise data warehouse. And from there, tools like Tableau, Click, Power BI pull the data and the data visualization is done. So what data you are being entered in the retail store at the beginning, that is later visualized by tools like Tableau. So this is the whole flow of data in business intelligence. Okay, I've spoken about data a lot. I've spoken about business intelligence. So what exactly is data visualization and why do we first of all need it? If you see this image over here, it is a Excel file. It is a tabular data. This is how the data gets stored even in the enterprise data warehouse. Okay. Now, with this kind of data source, let's say you have this data, okay, and now if you are asked the same business questions, which products are being bought the most, who are my frequent visiting customers, which state is performing the best. So if these kind of questions, if I ask you, it might take some time, or you need a lot of technical expertise to answer these questions. So let's say you are a Excel developer. Okay, in that case, you know what macros or what functions have to be used so that the corresponding data can be shown. But a business user, the person who makes a decision, for example, a CEO, need not necessarily know Excel. Same way, the data gets stored in the databases. There, if you want to analyze anything, you need to know SQL. The business user may not know SQL. So how do you present the data to them? That is where the data visualization comes into the picture. Data visualization helps the end users understand patterns in data. A best example would be the market basket analysis, we can say. By that, what I mean is, which two products are being purchased frequently together. We saw the example earlier, right? The laptop and laptop bag, the recommendation engine. That is, you can say, as a market basket analysis. So in a retail store, uh, let's say milk and eggs example. If the data says that it shows a pattern that people who have purchased milk, most of them also purchased eggs. Let's say that's the user behavior. So what the retail store can do to increase their sales is that they can place the eggs and milks next to each other in the retail store. So people will purchase more of this product and the sales will go up. The trends means if you want to know how the sales and profit have fallen or risen over the different months or years. You want to understand that, then you need to understand the trend. Track KPIs. KPI stands for key performance indicator. That is, example would be total sales, number of customers, total profit, profit ratio. All these are numbers, right? Just numbers. So the end users, they would first want to know the numbers, and then only they'll start analyzing the data. I'll show you example in the next slide. And finally, slice and dice data. By that, what I mean is data filtering. The end user, let's say they are visualizing the data for whole of India, and suddenly now they want to analyze only for a particular state in India. So using the filter options in various business intelligence tools, they can filter only for the state that they are interested in, and they can also compare it with the performance in other states. This same data that you see here in the Excel format, when it is visualized, comes up like this. Over here, you can see on the left extreme, you have the filters like year, market, and currency. This is the slicing and dicing of data. That is, the end user can apply the filters. They can see how the sales has risen or fallen over different years and how it has been performing across different markets. This is the insurance based data. So you can see under each country how much of total premium worth, insurance premium worth is being sold. This is the KPI that I was talking to you about. And then another insight you can get is that on the bottom you see a lot of bar charts. There you can see in each country how different insurance categories are performing. For example, if you see the preferred provider organization, that is the fourth from the bottom, it is pretty much doing well in France, Germany, and UK, but it is not at all being sold in Spain. So the business decision that can be taken is to do more marketing or provide more discount for this particular insurance category so that it also gets sold in Spain. Same way you can see the comprehensive coverage, that is the second one in the insurance category, that is the bar chart. It is not being sold much in any of the countries. So there also you can push a marketing or ad campaign and increase the selling of that particular insurance. On the right hand side, you can see which insurance was sold the most in each country and what is the corresponding premium value. So these kind of uh, filtering the data, that is the slicing and data you did using the filters on the left hand side, you are making business decisions by looking at the premium sold in different insurance categories and how each insurance category has been performing across different years and which are the best performing insurance categories in each country. So all these analysis can be done in less than 20 seconds. And this is how data visualization helps businesses make decisions to improve their business growth. Now, an example that I want to give is something called a cohort analysis. Let me explain that with an example first, or I'll explain the chart right away. You are opening a retail store. Okay, on 2011 January, you are opening a new retail shop. That is the, let's say it's a supermarket. Now, over 4 years of time, you want to understand how many new customers you are getting every month. Okay, new customers, how many you are acquiring every month is what you want to understand. So let's take this example. Since you have opened your store in Jan of 2011, whoever comes in that particular month will be the first time customers. Now, when you go to February 2011 in the bar chart, it shows that 82.74% of the all customers who came in the February 2011 are first time customers, whereas 17.26% of the total customers who came in Feb 2011 were the ones who came in Jan 2011. You can see it using the color. The Jan 2011 is being represented by the dark blue. Same way you can see in March 2011 that 19% of the total customers who came are the first time customers of Jan 2011. Slowly you can see all the bars from left to right, and one trend is easily understandable. The trend is that most of our sales is being driven by the customers who first came in Jan, Feb, March, April, May, and June of 2011. You can see even for December 2014, right? Even in December 2014, you can see 15.15% were the first time customers in Jan 2011, 13.64% were the ones who came in March 2011. That means the business insight that you're getting over here is that we are not acquiring any new customers. Most of our sales, even after 4 years, is being driven by the customers who came in the first for 6 months of opening of the shop. What business decision can be made out of this is, now to acquire new customers, discounts can be given, lot of ads can be launched. By doing that, more new customers can be attracted and the sales can go up and the growth of the company will also go up. So this is an example of cohort analysis, and this is how data visualization can help businesses make decisions. I'm not going very deep into this slide, but the last two I want to explain: self-service BI and also the NLP Auto Insight, that part. Self-service BI means, earlier, like I said, in an Excel, if someone wants to build a dashboard, they had to rely upon an Excel developer. That is, a person who knows Excel can only make complex analysis and they can build dashboard in Excel. So for example, let's say I have a developer, Excel developer. Now that person builds a bar chart and sends it to me. I am the business user. I'm looking at the bar chart and now I'm thinking, I don't want it as a bar chart, but I want to see it as a pie chart. So again, what I have to do, I have to send a mail to the developer. The developer will again change it to pie chart and then I'll get back the report. Now, this might take some time because the Excel developer might take some time to build and I might lose a business opportunity in that time, right? So self-service BA is the trend currently. That is, me as an end user, I can build my own charts without any technical expertise. I can just do it with a drag and drop. How, I'll show it to you at the end of the session. It is very mind-blowing and is very interesting. You need not know any coding, nothing. You just need to do a mouse movement and automatically the charts will be created. So nowadays, businesses do not rely upon developers too much to make their analysis. They can build, even a CEO without any technical knowledge can build his own dashboard. That is the self-service BI. BI stands for business intelligence. All the business intelligence tools, the data visualization tools in the markets, or most of them are self-service tools. The NLP and Auto Insights is, nowadays what is happening is the end users, they want to ask question, just like how you chat with your friends in WhatsApp. Same way they just type out a question. For example, they ask, uh, how do you think my sales would be in the next 3 months? They type it in Tableau or Click or Power BI. Then automatically inside a forecast for the next 3 months happens, and the end user will get a chart with all the explanation. No developer required. Just by typing a question like you do in your social media platforms, the end user can get analysis. If you take the example of Click, right? Click is an amazing data visualization platform. There they have something called Insight Bot. What can be done is, this Insight Bot can be connected with your Telegram app. And in Telegram, you can literally just send message to Click. Okay, that is where the Click is installed. You can send a question saying, hey, how has been my sales in the past 5 days? And instead of Telegram, you will get a response from Click within seconds. You will get even the chart showing a line chart showing how the sales has been, and it will also give a description that hello user, the sale has been like this in the past 5 days, and we can expect that the sales will be higher in the next few days. So like this, you can see how much easy it has become for the end user to interact and understand the data. Auto insights means the end user will just have to load the data into the tool, and then if they click on auto insights, automatically the whole data will be analyzed and charts will be automatically generated by the tool, and the end user can choose whichever uh, charts they want, and they can add it to their dashboard. So now you can see that very less effort of a developer is required nowadays. And the final one is conversation analytics. Now this is very interesting. Just like how I am speaking to you right now, I can speak to my tool. I can speak to my tool. I can ask question. NLP was typing out a question. Conversation analytics is I can speak to my tool saying that, hey, give me the update for today. And automatically, just like Google Assistant, Alexa, or Siri, it will speak back to me saying that, hello user, this has been the trend today, and these are the best moving products, and today is this much of product has been sold. It will speak back to me. This is where the all the BA tools are slowly heading towards. So we have spoken enough about data, business intelligence, and data visualization. Now let's come to Tableau. Tableau is one of the leading BA tools in the market. Let's dive deep and understand more about it. In the data visualization market, these three tools are the top tools: Tableau, Click, and Power BI. If you ask me in terms of uh, data analytics, which is the best tool, there's really no answer, because each tool has its own special capabilities. For example, what Click has, Tableau may not have. What Tableau has, Click may not have. So it depends more upon the business requirement. So one person might like a car, doesn't necessarily mean that the another person should also like it, right? Because the another person might have a different requirement. One person might like a SUV car, the other one might like a sedan car. Just like that, based on the business requirement, the tool, you can say it is good. There is no the best tool in the market. It all depends upon which tool best fits your business requirement. So why Tableau? Why are we even first of all talking about Tableau today? Why so many people are learning Tableau? You can see the diagram on the right hand side, and you can see where Tableau is placed. Tableau is placed in the leaders quadrant, and Tableau has been in the leaders quadrant for the past more than 6 years. It was only very recently that Microsoft Power BI is positioned slightly higher than Tableau in this analysis. You can take this quadrant as how you rate movies, right? Like you go to IMDb or different rating sites online and you rate the movies. So same way, the tool is being rated by a company called Gartner. They have analyzed the user experience of customers of various tools, and they have come up with this chart. This does not necessarily mean that if a tool which is at the bottom, that tool is not best for you. It may even be the case that the tool at the top may not be the best fit for you, but the tool at the bottom may be the one that you are looking for. So there is nothing like the best tool or the worst tool. It all depends upon your business requirement. Now coming back to Tableau, like I said, it is very business user friendly. It has a lot of visualization inside and it can connect to various data sources. That is 60 plus data sources it can connect to. So it can connect to a SQL Server, Oracle. It can connect to a relational database, traditional databases. It can connect to a cloud data warehouse, big data systems, Salesforce, SAP, etc. It can connect to so many different data sources, Excel, CSV. There are so many. It can handle even millions and billions of rows of data efficiently. So there is no restriction to the volume of data. Then coding. I know that a lot of people who are attending today are very well versed with coding, but not much of coding is required to learn Tableau. That goes even for Power BI and Click. The coding is minimal. Only in earlier tools like SAP BO, Business Objects, that was a very famous tool earlier. So there, that also did not require a lot of coding, but it required a lot of technical expertise. But with Tableau, none of that is required. So I know I'm telling a lot about no coding is required. It's very business user friendly. I'll showcase it to you. I'll be doing a demo in few minutes, and from that you'll get an idea. And Tableau around the world has more than 95,000 customers across all the different industries. I'll show that to you. Now take this slide. You can see how Tableau has grown across various years. It has in 2019, it has 86,000 customers, and this was in the quarter 1 of 2019. Right now, Tableau has more than 95,000 customers, and you can see some of the clients of Tableau: Ernst and Young, JP Morgan, Barclays, Wells Fargo. These are the leading banks in the world. Then Walmart, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Eveready. Then in tech, Intel, Dell, Seagate, PUBG. I'm sure some of you will be playing. They are streaming data in real time and analyzing in Tableau. Then engineering, Tesla, Caterpillar, ExxonMobil, and a very interesting one is that US Army and Air Force use Tableau for their data analysis. And even United Nations has announced that Tableau would be
అప్పుడు వాయిస్
their
వస్తే వరాదు
the standard
దో
data visualization platform for them. United Nations collects a lot of data from around the world. All that is going to be visualized in Tableau. Now you can understand some of the customers of Tableau. They all are the leading companies in their own industry. So in terms of job opportunities and growth, you can very well see from this slide itself how many companies are using Tableau to make their data analysis. So how exactly is Tableau being utilized by various companies? Let's quickly go through some. You can see that Hong Kong, that is Ernst & Young in Hong Kong, is using Tableau to predict fraud, and doing that is saving their clients millions of dollars. And Coca-Cola is bringing data from several systems. That is, it has data from various places, right? It is a huge company. So data from all these places are brought in, and the data is analyzed to make marketing strategies and to increase the sales. Lenovo, you can see there has been a 95% improvement in report creation time. 95%. So you can see how much the time has got reduced. So Lenovo is using for that. PepsiCo, 90% reduction in report production time. ExxonMobil, more than 90,000 users. That is 90,000 employees are using in ExxonMobil are using Tableau to make their data analysis. So these are different products of Tableau. I'm not going very deep into it. I'll definitely share this slide with you later. But when you purchase a Tableau license, these are the different products that you get when you purchase Tableau. Tableau Desktop is the tool where we make all the data analysis. We build all the dashboards. The rest of the tools I'm not covering right now, since that would require a dedicated time to explain. But the Tableau Desktop is the main tool that we are also going to focus for today. But however, I want to give you a quick introduction of the different tools. There is a tool in Tableau called Tableau Prep. That tool is used to join the data from different data sources or join different tables. For example, you might have one table from SQL Server, another table from Oracle, and you can join this data using Tableau Prep, and you can give the singular output. But this is a very basic explanation. You can do much more with Tableau Prep. Tableau Desktop, like I said, it can connect to different data sources and you can visualize the data, as you can see from this particular slide. So this Tableau server or online, I'll explain it with the example. So let's say you have a photograph of yourself. If you want all of your friends to see it, you upload it to Facebook or any other social media platform, right? Same way, in my local system, I use Tableau Desktop to build the dashboards. But how exactly will my end users also see it? If your end user is in London, how will he or she access your laptop to see the analysis? So same way how we upload photos in social media platform, same way the dashboards that you build in Tableau Desktop are published to platforms like Tableau Server or online. Different end users can log in Tableau server or online using their user ID and password. And there is a lot more to it, but this is the basic understanding. Tableau server or online is where the end users or the business users access all the workbooks from. This I'm not going very deep into, but you get the data from database or Excel, you visualize in Tableau Desktop, and then you publish it to Tableau server or online. This is the basic flow. So we have seen enough of theory. I remember being in school or in college, a lot of theory would go on and I would drift off to sleep, and the subject used to be very boring. So let's do some hands-on to really understand the power of the tool. So you see, this is the Tableau Desktop tool. Okay, what you see over here, this is the Tableau Desktop tool. Now I'll explain this with an example. For that, first we are going to use a data set. Okay. My data set, what you see in this Excel file, it is a retail based data. It contains retail, the example that I gave you earlier, like at the billing counter, the data gets collected, the same kind of data. You can see it has different sheets: orders, people, and returns. This order sheet contains the transactional data, that is, what was the order ID, when it was ordered, when it was shipped, what was the ship mode, customer ID, customer name, country, state, city that the customer belongs to, which product they bought, what was the category of the product, what was the product name, the sales quantity, etc. So all these data are captured over here. Under people sheet, it is shown who are the managers of different regions. There are 4 regions in the data set. You can see the region column is present over here. Who are the managers of each of the region? You can get it from the people sheet. And the returns is very, I think it's very straightforward. Which are the orders that were returned? Like we sometimes purchase things from Amazon if it is broken, or any other um, e-commerce platform. If it is not working fine, we return it, right? Same way, what are the orders that were returned? So we have it in the return sheet. Now we are going to visualize the data. I'm going to Tableau, and you can see the different data sources that Tableau can connect to. You can see there are so many data sources. So this is one of the very unique feature of Tableau. There are so many different data sources and different platforms that it can connect to. In Tableau, tables from different databases can be brought in. Like I said, in Tableau Prep, Same way in Tableau desktop, I can bring one table from Oracle, another table from SQL Server, and perform the join inside of Tableau desktop and analyze the data. So it's not necessary that you should always connect to only one data source to analyze your data. For today's demo, I'm going to use the Excel file just like how I showed you. So I'm going to Microsoft Excel and I am going to the data source. Now that Excel file is being loaded. So how do I pull the data into Tableau? You see the same orders, people and returns sheet, what we have in the Excel file, the same is also present over here. Now remember one thing, if you are a person who doesn't know coding at all, you can still learn Tableau, at least the basics. To load this order sheet into Tableau, all I need to do is just drag and drop. Done. The data is loaded. No complications. Okay. The data is loaded. See the sample of the data that has loaded at the bottom of the screen. The same order ID, region, the same set of columns. Now, let us go to the sheet. Here, you can see all the different fields that are present in the data source. Automatically, Tableau has categorized it as dimensions and measures. So what are dimensions and measures? Measures are the fields that can be aggregated, right? Sales, I can do a sum of sales or average of sales like that, but I can't do average of region. It is a categorical data. So that is the difference between dimensions and measures. Measures can be aggregated, dimensions cannot be aggregated. Now we have a question which I've been asking since the beginning. Which are the products that are being sold the most? Okay, now I want you all to type in the chat box, how long do you think it will take for me to analyze this data? That I want to understand which are the products that are being sold the most. Please type in the chat box mentioning the seconds or the minutes that it may take. You can give your entry now. Okay, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 or 3 seconds, 2 minutes. Feel free, please do give your your input. 30 seconds, okay, at least 3 minutes, 2 minutes. All right, so since there are 119 participants, right, it may take a lot of time for everyone to give their entry, but the average that I can see is somewhere, you can say 2 minutes. Okay, you are wrong. It doesn't take 2 minutes. It takes literally 2 seconds for you to analyze that, and I'll show you how. I have the product name over here. I drag it, I drag this, done. My analysis is ready. I just have to sort the data in descending order. I sort it and then I show the sales value, and that's it. Now you can see which are the products that are being sold the most. This is what I meant when I said that there is no coding required. I was not overselling the product, but really this is how the end users, I told you, right? Even the CEO can make their analysis, even they don't know anything technical. All I did was just a drag and drop. That's it. And you can analyze the data. So this is the power of visualization. I can clearly understand how each product has been performing. Now let's do something different. Okay, now I want to understand in each region, how did the product sell? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a region. Probably in some other day we'll have a very hands-on session, but just for now, if I want to analyze in each region how the sales change, I'm just going to take the region and put it over here, and you can see clearly in each region. In western region, this product sold 14,000. In south, it was this much. Oh, the interesting fact, you see, the product that was sold the most did not sell in the southern region at all. So you know what is a business insight from this? It is that maybe this is not actually the best selling product, since it actually did not sell in all the regions, but we'll come back to that later. Same way in eastern region, 30,000 was the sale of the product, and all I did was just a drag and drop. I didn't do any coding, no coding at all. Now I want to make a different analysis. I want to understand there are different subcategories, okay? And out of these different subcategories, I want to understand how each how much did each subcategory contribute to the total sales value, that is the percent of total. We had seen the bar chart, but you can see from here that there are so many data visualization charts inbuilt in Tableau. Now if I want to convert this Excel like report into, let's say, a tree map, I'll just click again. When I click over here, a tree map is automatically created, and I can see based on the size how the percentage of contribution is. Let's say if you take Asia and all the countries and you want to know how much is each country contributing to the GDP of total Asia, you can visualize using this. And I can also put the labels. I can take my sales and I can convert it into the percent of total, and automatically it will show me the percentage. So it's very clear that 14.37% of the total sales is from phones category. Very easy, right? Then there are so many different things you can do. And now if I want to understand how the trend or the sales has been going for a long time, I can take the date field and again probably in the later sometime we will go deep into the different options. See, done. Now I can see from the beginning time how the sales has been over different months. We can see that usually it has been an increasing trend. This is a line chart, right? So the first one, this is a bar chart, this is a tree map, this is a line chart. And another interesting thing I can do is, just like how you see in Google Maps, I can visualize the data using maps. So see, I'm taking the state field. State is a geographical based data, right? So I'm just taking this and I'm dragging and dropping over here. Automatically a map will be first created. This data set has only US based data. You can see the map is over here. I need to make a new few changes. The problem is, since I'm I'm in India, Tableau has thought that all these states belong to India country, which is wrong. So I'll convert this into United States. And if I give OK, you can see each state in the US. Now I want to understand the sales trend across different states in US. Simply, I just take sales, put it on color. And based on the sale value, the color changes. Higher the color, darker in color. Lesser the sales, lighter in color. But blue is not my favorite color. What do? I can take my go to color and I'm just going to choose a different representation. So you get a lot of flexibility on how you want to show the data. And I can put my state and sales value also over here. So this is a state map. This is a map field. So we have a tree map, line chart, and a map. Then finally, we are going to create a bar chart. We'll create a bar chart. So no, let's not create a bar chart. Let's create a pie chart. So I'm going to go to, I want to see in each ship mode how the sales has been. This is not a right dimension measure combination, but however, let's take this as an example. To convert into a pie chart, like I told, just click over here, done. The chart is ready. I can see that most of the sales or most of the transaction is being done through the standard class ship mode. So this is the pie chart. And one more chart that I want to explain to you today is something called a heat map. Now a small exercise for you, okay? Can you tell me which cell over here, each of this is a cell, is the highest sales? For which year and which month is the highest sales? Okay, you will not actually analyze. The reason why I asked you to do it was because it took you some time, right? You were looking through each cell and comparing which is the highest, which is the lowest. So it might have taken you some time. And believe me, I've worked in several projects. The clients do not have patience. They immediately want it in seconds. By seconds, I don't mean 10 seconds. In less than 2 seconds, they want to analyze. So what do I do? Done. Now, immediately you can see that November 2019 has the highest sales. So this is how you can increase and improve the data analysis experience of your end user. This is called a heat map. Okay. All right. We have all the different charts, but what is the use if I can't bring them all together? So I'm going to create a dashboard where I'm going to bring all my charts. I'm going to bring map. I'm going to bring tree map, pie, and let's also bring our line chart. So I have all the charts in one place. But just by looking at all the charts in one place, again, what is the use, right? Simply looking at it doesn't make any sense. Now I can make each chart as a filter. By that, what I mean is when I click on California in the map chart, automatically the other charts show the data only for California state. To make that, again, no coding required. I'm just enabling the filter option. After enabling, now see, when I click on California, you can see other charts will change. Same way Texas. I can also make my pie chart as a filter. So now I'm going to click on standard class and automatically all the other sheets will show the data only for standard class. So by this, the end user can interact with the charts, apply filters, and analyze. For example, they can click on California and they can understand that, okay, phones, chairs, and tables are the top 3 selling products. And clicking on Texas, they can immediately understand that phone, chairs, and machines are the top 3 products. Earlier in California, it was tables, right? Third, but in Texas, it was machines. Like that, they can get some business insight. Similarly, they can also understand how the sale trend has been over different year and month. Now, if you have a business question, how did phones perform in Texas state? So I'll select Texas and I'll select phone also, and you can see in the line chart now how the sale has been across different years. This is the analysis you can do from the data. The end user will also have flexibility to get another set of filters. By that, what I mean is I'm going to back to the sheet. Here, let's say I want to filter the data based on year. So I can take my date filter, simply drag and drop it over here. I can select year and click OK. All done. Now there is a filter. Okay. When I click show filter, the end user will also see like this. They'll see the different years present. So they can select the filter and they can see the values changing. Now, as a single sheet, this is fine. But when I go back to my dashboard, I'm not able to see that filter anymore. So what I can do is I can bring back my filter to the dashboard. I'm going to filters here. Again, this is not a hands-on workshop, so I'm just showing what are the capabilities. not the nuts and bolts of the tools. So now I have the filter over here. Now I can apply the filter. But again, what is the use? I have so many charts in my dashboard, but why would I apply the filter only for one chart? Therefore, I'll apply this filter to all the uh, charts on my dashboard. And when I give OK, you can see based on my selection, all the charts will automatically change the data. This is, I would say, what I've shown you is probably 20% or even not even 10% of what data visualization can do. There is so much you can do with data visualization and data analysis. Another very interesting feature that I can show you is, let's go to Chennai. Okay, I'm just googling Chennai. Think, yeah, it's slowly loading. Okay, now I'm going to the Wikipedia page of Chennai, and I'm copying the URL of the on the title. I go back to Tableau now, and I can make it work in such a way that when I click on California, Texas, or phones, automatically a Wikipedia search happens for whatever I select. So now we want to search for the state. Whatever state I select, for that a Wikipedia search happens. Okay, and it is from the map chart. So I'm selecting only the map chart. So now when I click on Texas, you can see automatically a Wikipedia search happens for the Texas state. See, these are some very basic things that we can do in Tableau, and this requires not too much of coding. But let me tell you one thing. Nowadays, since there is a lot of time for everyone around the world and everyone is at home, they are bombarded with so many courses, data science course. Everyone talks about data science, so I'll also learn data science. Please don't do that. Okay. uh, with respect to Tableau, what I would tell is that first of all, learn SQL. If you plan to get anything like data, if you say I'm going to get into data engineering, data visualization, data science, data analysis, if there's a word called data, first thing that you need to learn is SQL. The second thing you need to know is data warehousing concepts. What is a star schema, snowflake schema? What is a one-to-many relationship? What is the data modeling? All that you need to understand. After that, you learn Tableau, Click, Power BI, any tool is fine. In terms of job opportunities, see, if you go and ask, for example, I'm not being biased, but if you go and ask a CSK fan who's the best IPL team, which is the best IPL team, they'll say CSK. If you go and ask a Mumbai Indians fan, they'll say Mumbai Indians is the best. Same way, if you ask which is the best tool, I would say it depends upon who you ask. If you ask a Tableau developer, they'll say Tableau is the best. And I have worked on all the three tools, so I would say each tool is unique in its own way. So learn SQL, learn data warehousing. After that, you do data engineering, analytics, data science, anything is fine. This is what you need to basically understand. So that is what mainly I wanted to showcase for today. Just a quick detail about me. So this is my contact number. In case you do have any queries or any questions, you can feel free to contact me anytime. I'd be happy to help you or guide you. And I hope this session was useful to you and it was worth your time. I know in terms of the lockdown days, 10 o'clock can be a bit soon for some people. However, I do thank you all for attending this session. I can take questions. If you have any questions, I can take them now. You can ask it or you can put it in your chat window as well.
Participants, any queries, kindly post in the chat box.
Feel free. Don't know, even if you're doubt, if you feel it's very silly also, don't think, you can just ask. Okay, the first question, what is the subscription price for educational institution of Tableau? With for student license, there is no cost, sir. For example, if you are a university and you approach Tableau sales team, they would give you a student edition of Tableau, which is free for a year. It will have all the capabilities of Tableau. So you can get for free itself, you can get access for educational institutions. However, I wanted to add another important point. There is a there is a product called Tableau Public. I'll just show it in the slide. There's a product called Tableau Public. This is the free version of Tableau. I'm highlighting it over here. You can download it. It is a completely free version. However, it cannot connect to any of the databases. It can connect to only local files like Excel or CSV. And also there is no security of the data. That is, after you build the dashboard, when you publish it to Tableau Public, it's like Facebook, okay? So if I have your Facebook URL, like for your profile, there'll be a particular URL, right? Like facebook.com/profile/xyz. If I have that URL, I can just go and see at least who you are in Facebook. Same way, there'll be a URL for each of the workbook that you publish to Tableau Public. Therefore, there is no security. Anyone can access it. I'll just show you an example. I'll show you my Tableau Public profile. So see, this is my Tableau Public profile, and anyone with this URL will be able to access the workbooks. They'll be able to see the data. So strictly only for learning or for creating a portfolio for yourself to showcase in future, you can probably take this link and attach in your resume so that the whichever job you're applying for, they can click on the link and they can see your workbooks. So for example, when I click on this, the dashboard that I showed you, right? Whoever is clicking there, they can apply all the filters, they can interact with the dashboard and everything, but they won't be able to edit it. But it is full interactive. So if you're learning, then go with Tableau Public. But if you're an education institution, then definitely you can go to Tableau site. And especially if you're a student or even a professor, you can just upload the photo of your ID card and you'll get a free license key of Tableau. That free license key can connect to database as well. It is not like Tableau Public. Okay, taking the next question. It is only for large data. No, definitely not. This Tableau can be used for even 10 rows of data. 2 rows of data is also fine. There is no restriction on the volume of data as long as the machine you are working on has sufficient memory and RAM. It can even handle billions of rows of data. Is there any online course on Tableau? See, there are tons and tons and tons of courses on Tableau. Be very careful when you're choosing, because like everyone is a data scientist nowadays. Okay, everyone is learning data science, so everyone is a data scientist. Same way, everyone learns Tableau, so they are a Tableau developer and they start teaching. What I would suggest you, the path that I would suggest you is, first you'll get expertise only over time. So the learning path I would suggest is, first probably you can note it down. In Tableau site itself, there are some training videos. First complete that. They are free. Complete the Tableau training videos from the Tableau website. After that, you can go and check out some blogs from Tableau Deep Dive Interworks. This Tableau Deep Dive Interworks, you can Google and you can go to this Tableau Deep Dive. This LOD is there, right? The second link. You can just click on this and it will go take you to a website called interworks.com, and they collaborate with Tableau, and you can see a lot of blogs on Tableau. You can go to the bottom of the screen, okay, and you can see there are so many blogs on different capabilities of Tableau. You can click on each of these and you can explore the options. If you really want to build your expertise in Tableau, I would say you pull data into Tableau and you come up with your own scenarios and try to solve it. That is, imagine yourselves as a store as a store manager, okay, and you think What are the data insights that I would require? And then you start building the dashboard. That will help you a lot in mastering the tool. Okay. How is Tableau used in fraud detection? Uh, you have box plots and histograms present in Tableau. There are some inbuilt charts. So using that, the fraud detection can be done. And also Tableau can be integrated with R or Python. And whatever scripts you have over there, the forecasted data, for example, right? That data can be visualized in Tableau, or any fraud that is detected can be shown from Tableau. So I have not exactly worked on fraud data detection, but definitely I know that using box plot and histograms, you can easily find outliers and do fraud detection. Is Tableau open source? Definitely not. He needs to make money, right? But Tableau Public, like I mentioned earlier, it is a free version. You can use Tableau Public for learning purposes. Which data visualization tool will be suitable for research scholars? Like I said, if I'm a Tableau developer, I'll definitely say Tableau. If I'm Power BI, I'll say Power BI. There's nothing as such. What I would recommend you is download Tableau, Power BI, and Click. Okay, ClickSense. Download all these three tools, connect to data, play around with it. You see which one is your interest. All the three have amazing capabilities. All the three tools are being used by so many huge corporations around the world. So they won't be using it if it's not does not have a lot of features. So you can choose your favorite once you explore it. So all these three have free versions. You can download them and you can try it out, and whichever you feel suitable for your use case, you can choose. Scope of Tableau in research in commerce. See, again, like it said, it can be used for building rockets. It can be used for analyzing commerce data. It can be used for anything. It's not that a data visualization tool can be used only for a particular use case. It can be used for anything. But if you want to understand it well, you need to know the tool well. The bar chart can represent data about a retail data, manufacturing data, commerce data, research data, anything it can show. It all depends upon how you use it. Can we present Tableau chart in research paper? Yes, it is possible. Once you publish to Tableau public, or in case you have Tableau server, you can get an embedding code. Embedded code will be there. You can just put it in your research paper, and anyone can click on that link and they can access. In case of Tableau public, anyone can be able to access. So I think pretty much those are the questions. Any more questions?
Participants, any more questions? I think everybody is waiting eagerly for feedback link. I think Sureka, or which is best for Tableau, Python
Python
or
or you can connect to both Python and R. So whichever you are comfortable with, you can connect. How many filters are available? Tableau has so many different filters. Probably, like I said, you can go through the Tableau training videos, because for our timeline, it is not possible to go through all the filters. But the filter that I showed you, the year filter, and also using charts as filter, are just some of the filters that are present in Tableau. There are so much more. Which library is best for Python language? See, I'm not a Python guy, so I don't want to misguide you. I'm not sure on Python. However, if you're going to do data wrangling, data preparation, right, all the data engineering part, then you can check out the Pandas library in Python. It's amazing. It is not very complicated. It requires a bit of coding, but Pandas is one of the best libraries in Python for data engineering. You can join data from various sources, do a lot of data transformation. So you can check out Pandas. R versus Tableau. R versus Tableau comparison is like comparing apples and oranges. So we can't actually compare R and Tableau. Tableau is a data visualization tool. R is for statistical analysis. However, R has a library called R Shiny that can be used for data visualization, but that I have not explored much, so I can't comment much on that. But the best use case is integrate Tableau and R. So you'll get the power of Tableau, which is visualization, power of R, which is statistical analysis. So combine both and you can do your analysis. Thank
Shall
you
we?
all for the feedback. Yeah, yes, ma'am. I think you
Yeah,
can add the feedback.
thank you. Big thank you to Mr. Ashwath Raj for your effort towards the amazing and energetic presentation at this morning. You must mention our deep sense of appreciation for his explanation on data visualization. I express our sincere thanks to Mr. Ashwath Raj for giving an excellent coverage and demonstration on Tableau. On behalf of all the participants who joined with us in this session, we wish you to reach great success in your career. We are all inspired by your great presentation, Ashwath, and I extend my gratitude to participants, those who joined with us on today's session. Thank you all for your support, and tomorrow's session will be start at 10 a.m. with another interesting topic called cyber security. We all meet in day 3 session. I request Ms. Niveta and Ms. Yasmin, Assistant Professor of Computer Science and Application Department, to share the feedback form in the chat box. Mr. Ashwath Raj, very much thank you for your time. Really, it's an amazing, we are inspired.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your compliments.
Thank you. And
And
for participants, those who are submitting feedback will receive mail with the quiz link around 5 p.m. today. I request all the participants to take the quiz for a successful completion of FDP to receive certificate. Thank you once again. Thank you, Mr. Ashwath Raj.
yes, thank you all. Thank you so much for you all been a great audience. So I think that is very important, because if audience are not responding efficiently, even a great presenter cannot do well. But it was a really amazing experience for me. Thanks for being a great audience. Thank you for asking questions, and also feel free to ping me. Anyway, this is my WhatsApp number, so just feel free to ping me in case you have any doubts, if you want to make any technical discussions. I think, yeah, so many people are asking for feedback link. It is posted in the chat window. You can probably just scroll up a little bit and you can check. Yeah, this is the one. It has been posted now.
And with your permission, shall I share PPT, some of them requesting PPT, Ashwath?
Yeah, I'll be mailing this PPT to you, and definitely you can share it with everyone. No problem.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you once again. Yasmin and Niveta, kindly post a feedback form once again, please.
Oh, ma'am, there's a query that the feedback form is pre-filled. Can you have a look at that, please?